Train the muscles, not the joints. So welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding. And today I want to talk to you about the stretch, okay? So this goes in alignment with the range of motion videos that I've done and everything like that. But somebody asked me, they said, hey Jason, is the stretch the most important part of the movement? Actually, stretching the muscle is the most important part of the movement, but stretching the muscle doesn't always mean stretching the joint. There are certain muscles, depending on the technique you use, that will be in a subtle stretch position already, and then you don't need to extend it so that way the joint is actually overextended. So for instance, when I'm bench pressing and I come down to almost touch my chest, I might be an inch above my chest, but I feel the stretch in my chest. When I go lower, then I feel the extra stretch then just goes to my delt. And if I'm training with the goal or the primary purpose to stretch my chest, and I'm not feeling extra stretch in my chest, okay, in the belly of the chest, I'm not feeling the stretch there, I'm just feeling tugging on the tendons, that means the stretch is too excessive for the goal that I want to achieve. Depending on how you're built will depend on how the technique is. So the first thing I want you to do is not mimic my form. Do not do things the same way I do them. Do them the way that is right for you based on your feel, okay? And you can be very conservative with your range of motion at first and then slowly work your way into deeper and deeper ranges of the motion. Find out where are you feeling the stretch. Now, in my experience, the best way to find out what the perfect stretch is for you in a movement is to go down low enough so that you feel the stretch in the muscle belly itself, in the belly, not in the insertion point on the tendons. Where the tendons insert in the bone, that's not where you want to feel the majority of the stress. And a lot of times people search out range of motion with this in mind. They say, I have to stretch so that way I'm pulling the tendons out of the bone constantly, and then somehow they come to my channel at some point and they say, Jason, why do I have elbow pain? Or why do I have shoulder pain? Why do I have knee pain? It's because they're taught by looking at people on YouTube sometimes, they're taught to do excessive ranges of motion that aren't helping them feel the muscles in the belly. They're actually feeling the muscles where they insert into the bone. And that's not where you want to feel the majority of your stress, okay? You're going to feel some there anyway, but you don't want to focus on that being the primary goal of your exercise. The fact is stretch is very important. You want to stretch. That's why I do the dumbbell incline curl, but I'm not locking my arms out and trying to stretch the tendons here when I'm doing preacher curls. So say I'm doing preacher curls, I'm coming down and stretching the muscle belly, but when I come down a little bit lower, sometimes I'll feel that the tendon right here will start to take the stress right in here. That's not what I want to feel the stress. That's not what I want to stretch, you see? So there's a difference. The stretch in the muscle is different than the stretch in the joint. So the stretch in the muscle is very important, but the stretch in the joint is what you want to not do if it feels like it's too aggressive, okay? Because then it becomes jujitsu. Then all you're doing is going to the gym and trying to basically break yourself in half, and what's the point of that, right? So you want to stretch the muscles enough, but you don't want to stretch them too much. Seems obvious to me. I don't know why it's such a hard thing to explain on the internet these days, but it's all because of this whole bullshit thing where people think you're supposed to overstretch everything, and if you can't overstretch everything and come all the way up, you know, squat ass to the grass and come all the way up, then there's something wrong with you. Meanwhile, one person that can do that, they are actually stretching their muscle bellies. It might be the right range for them, but then another person, because of the counterbalancing and stuff involved, they might have to bend over a lot, they might have to not bring their knees over their toes because maybe they have their ankles that aren't moving properly, and no matter what they do, their ankles are just jamming. They don't actually have any dorsiflexion. This can totally change the way a person moves. And when you honor the way you move and keep the stress on the muscles as much as possible, and you always have the goal of increasing your flexibility, but only increasing the flexibility in the muscles, not by overstretching the joints, because if you overstretch the joints, what will happen is you'll loosen up those ligaments and you'll just put unnecessary damage on the cartilage and on the connective tissue. Unnecessary aggressive tweaking of connective tissue just leads to nothing more than injury. It doesn't actually help you get stronger. It doesn't help you get bigger or anything. And I've watched my dad train when I was a kid doing powerlifting, and my brother train, and we've been doing this for a long time. And I'm just going to say that once you start to work with your body instead of against it constantly and pound it to death, it brings a lot more results to you without so much of the joint problems. There are a lot of people that come on this channel and they're saying, Jason, I quit training because I tried to do it the way other people were telling me, but the way people were telling me to train was actually destroying my body. But once I started incorporating a range of motion that actually seemed to be right for me, all of a sudden it's like hallelujah. All of a sudden it's like the heaven opened up in the gym, and all of a sudden they can enjoy their training and they're getting results. Well, there's a reason for this. It's because your muscles are made to function under normal ranges of motion. They are made to keep your joint together when you're overstretching, but it doesn't mean that that's the ideal way to use them, okay? Although your body can stay in one piece in certain moves, the last thing you'd want to be doing is trying to flex your arm like this and then somebody trying to arm bar you, like in jiu-jitsu, okay? Trying to break your arm. At some point, something will snap. We all know that. If somebody puts you in an arm bar and they're reefing on your arm like this and you're resisting the other way, something will snap. It's kind of like arm wrestling. You see guys break their arms and stuff. Wrestling on the ligaments and connective tissue is not the primary goal of training. Your connective tissue is already getting beaten up. Now, how can you make this the most efficient way of using the energy and using the forces at work, okay? What is the most efficient way to use the forces to hit the muscles and the joints together so that they're all equally sharing the stress instead of the muscles just taking stress and then it can stretch no longer and now transferring that stretch to the joint, okay? So stretch is important, 100% agree with that. You want to stretch the muscle, but how far do you need to stretch the muscle before it starts to transfer to the joint? That's the question. So I hope this helps you out with your training. I hope this helps you think a little bit about what's right for you anyway in your training. And thanks a lot for watching, and take care for now.